Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. He admits he's a cheater.
How many women would you say you've slept with since you got married?
And a liar.
You served in the military?
I did say that.
That actually was a lie.
Which branch of the military did you not serve in?
Did she marry a complete stranger?
I feel like I've been catfished.
You had no clue about any of this.
No, look at him. I love him, but think he's gonna be the one that cheats?
I think she's saying, James Bond, you're not. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Well, Brandy claims she had never been in love before she met her husband, Max. She says he was her knight in shining armor who swept her off her feet. Within just a few months, they were married. Her 3 girls loved him. Her youngest even called him Dad. But when you think something is too good to be true, well, it often is. Now Brandy claims her Prince Charming is charming other women, and her fairy tale has turned into a nightmare. Brandy says, from lying about being in the military to how many women he slept with, she says she cannot keep track of his lies. Now she says she wants to know if she married a complete stranger. Take a look.
I met Max on Facebook. I messaged him directly, and 2 days later, we went on a date. He told me that the first time he saw my picture, he knew he was going to marry me. Within a matter of months, he was staying at my house. I have 3 children living with me. About 10 months after we met, we were married. I thought Max was my knight in shining armor. The first few months of marriage, I had noticed he had contacted women on his phone just for casual conversation. It made me suspicious. Max works all the time, and it's late hours, overnight. I found out that Max had dating profiles on at least a couple of websites. He would explain his way out of a lot of things. And then 7 months into marriage, I saw where he directly asked a woman to go out of town with him. I knew he was cheating on me. He was seeing a woman that he had met. His ex-employee sent me photos of her. He says he's cheated with approximately 8 women. He was having sex with random women in their cars. Once the truth started to come out, I realized that I didn't really know him at all. Max said that he had had a back surgery, which turned out to not be true. I actually had looked for a scar before and couldn't find one. He said that he had a ricochet bullet hit his leg and then confessed to that being fake as well. When we met, Max said that he had been in the military. That actually was a lie. They're still fighting me during the process of trying to heal and fix it. It's not gonna work. I feel like I've been catfished to my face. I do wonder if Max is just a liar and a cheater and will never change.
Well, Max admits he hasn't been honest with Brandy from the start. He says he has a problem with lying and admits to having sex with women during their relationship. But he says he loves Brandy and he loves her children and he wants to save his marriage.
Before I met Brandy, I didn't have time for relationships and I didn't want to be tied down to anybody. When I got married, I knew I would have a problem stopping talking to other females. My job required me to travel a substantial amount. I had these profiles on these dating websites and I talked to countless women. Just stupid conversations. Hey, what's up? Nothing, cool, and on to the next one. We would have sex in their car, too cheap for a hotel room for, 15 minutes of fame. These were trashy, disgusting women. And of course I'd use protection, but like how far does that really protect you? I lied to Brandy for months and months about it. Even before we were married, I slept with half a dozen women. I don't have a good reason for doing what I did. I've never been unhappy in my marriage. I came clean a little bit at a time. I didn't come clean all the way right away, which hurt more. I want Brandy to know that there's no more secrets and she knows everything. It's all on the table now. She's aware of. Every woman that I've slept with in the past, there's no other women that are gonna be like, oh, I slept with them too. That's not gonna happen. I know that I screwed up royally.
I want to fix this, but you've already drained so much energy without deserving it. If somebody has to be cut out of the picture, I'm not gonna cheat our kids anymore.
If Brandon chooses to end this, I will be devastated, but at the end of the day, it's her decision to make.
Okay, so you said you have a question about, it was kind of a compound question. Is he a liar and a cheat, and is he going to change?
Right.
Okay, that's a three-part question. Is he a liar, is he a cheat, and is he going to change?
I think I know the answers to a
Well, we know
liar
the first
and a cheat.
two.
Right.
Because you are a liar and a cheat, right?
Yes,
We know that.
we do.
So we're really down to just one question.
Yes.
Is he going to change? Now, you've told a lot of lies, right?
Yes.
Why do you think you lie? Because you lie about some stuff when the truth would do better. You lie about gassing up a truck.
I do. Did. I don't anymore. Changing currently in
Yeah.
the process.
So you've cured yourself of pathologically lying, compulsively
Hopefully.
lying. How'd you do that? Because we can make a lot of money, you and me, if we can. Because if you just
Want to shake on it now,
if you
or-
just flipped a switch and you just cured compulsive lying, we need to bottle that.
I didn't really think about other people at the time, and then when Brandy came to me and said, "Let's kind of do this," and
Okay,
figure
so
out
when
what's
you
a lie.
lied to begin with, you didn't know that it could damage your relationship.
I didn't think it would get that far.
Well, let's go through the lies that you've told. You've denied talking to other women, but you admit talking to other women, but not meeting them.
Correct.
So you said you didn't talk to them, but then you said, well, I do, but I don't meet them.
Right.
And you've denied being with other women since Brandy, but then you said, well, I've had one affair since the marriage.
Since the marriage. But
And then
before we were married, there were several others.
several. But then you denied having sex with the girl in the Jeep, said you only towed it. But then you said you had sex with the girl in the Jeep one time.
Which was a lie.
Because then you said you had sex with the girl in the Jeep a half a dozen times. Then you denied the relationship with the girl in the Jeep.
Correct.
And then you said, well, I actually did have a 5 or 6 week relationship with her.
Over the, yeah,
Over 5 or 6
those
weeks.
5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah. You said you served in the military?
I did say that when we first met, and then I never talked about it much after that.
Why'd you say that?
I created a persona, I guess, I don't know, that kind of badass,
G.I. Joe,
not quite, not really glorious or anything like that,
just semi-badass.
semi-badass.
Then you said you had a ricochet bullet in your leg. Was this in the military, or
Yeah,
that's why you were in the semi-badass in the military?
semi-badass.
3 tours in Afghanistan. But then you said, to be completely honest with you, I've only served 2 tours.
Yeah,
Which branch of the military did you not serve in?
I did not serve in the Army.
You said you've been unfaithful from day one until yesterday.
Well, not yesterday. This all came out about a month ago, give or take.
Well, yeah, you gave us 2 different timelines, so hell, we don't know. But
Talk a little bit about unfaithfulness.
I've been faithful recently.
How long?
We're working on about a month now, about a month.
Okay.
And that's like not talking to anybody, not having sex with anybody but my wife. Like that's, I'm not contacting anybody, no one's contacting me. It feels good.
But then Max told us another story about his cheating a day before his submission tape to the show.
Dr. Phil, my name is Max. The issues mostly stem from me being unfaithful from day one, from before we were married all the way till as much as yesterday.
Okay. Well, which is it?
In the video that I sent for the 2-minute video for you, I lied to my wife about how long it took me for something. I consider that all unfaithful to her. So I have not slept with anybody or spoken to anybody as far as other than work only in the last about a month. So it's not really two different timelines, but I do consider lying to my wife unfaithful.
So how many women would you say you've slept with since you got married?
One.
Like 6 times?
Like 6 times.
And while you were dating her before you got married, how many?
About half a dozen.
Half a dozen. And you said some of these were, to quote you, like ugly and disgusting.
Trashy. Wouldn't normally associate with them ever.
Where'd you happen onto them? Were these hookers?
No.
He's too cheap for that.
It's too cheap for a hooker? Okay, I need a break here. Coming up, Brandy claims Max is a pathological liar who even lies about why he is late coming home from a gas station. We're going to find out why he can't seem to tell the truth about anything, although he says that's all in the past. Is it? We'll find out when we come back. Well, didn't you really press this?
He wanted to be married on his birthday, and I didn't want to wait for his next birthday
Because it was his birthday.
Easier
so
to
he could remember the date.
There's a good reason to get married. And later, if you knew then what you know now, would you have married him?
Not at all.
Why would you stay married being where you are now?
My head is swirling. I'm completely confused.
I'm married to Max, and I don't even know who he is. He's told me about 8 different women that he's had sex with. Every lie that he's confessed to is something that I've had to pull out of him with a lot of effort and energy on my part. Nothing was confessed on his own accord, and I just don't know if I can trust him.
Well, Brandy claims her husband Max is a liar and a cheat. He says she's right. I'm a liar and a cheat, but he says I fixed that now. He says that he does talk to women, but it means nothing to him. I think it means something to her, but he says it doesn't mean anything to him. It's just kind of a pastime, kind of like watching football, or
Yeah, I don't watch football, so.
maybe you should start. But okay, I'm going to get back to you in a minute.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out if you married Mr. Right or if you married Mr. Right now.
Yeah.
I mean, were you ready to get married? Were you really ready to get married?
I've never wanted to be married ever before, and I did want to marry him.
Well, didn't you really press this?
Yes. I pushed him to marry me a year earlier than he wanted to.
And
he wanted to be married on his birthday, and I didn't want to wait for his next birthday, so we did it on the one that was just a few months away.
Because it was his birthday.
Easier
So
to
he could remember the date.
There's a good reason to get married.
I wanted to marry him.
But you pushed it.
Yes, I did.
Why?
Honestly, I was probably afraid if I didn't marry him, it wouldn't last.
Say that again?
I was afraid that if I didn't marry him, it wouldn't last.
Say that again? You said if I don't marry him, it won't last. So you thought if you got some paperwork on him, that would seal the deal?
Credentials.
I got to go down to the courthouse, get some papers on the boy, and then it'll work.
Yeah.
How you feel about that now?
You know, I even told him then, this looks stupid to everybody else. Don't make me look stupid. Let this be the fairy tale that I think it is, and don't make me look like a jackass.
Yeah. How's that working for you?
I look like a huge jackass.
Yeah. Well, because he's told some truths here. He did say, and I'm paraphrasing now, but he said, I'm pretty cocky. He said, I can go in and I can meet a girl, I can chat her up, I can get her phone number, and I can have her in my bed before the end of the night.
That's a paraphrase.
Yeah. Let's go over some of your quotes. Since you don't like my paraphrasing, here's one of them. After one of my ex-girlfriends cheated on me, I decided that I will never be faithful to any woman. I have it recorded.
Okay.
Do you deny saying that?
Well, if it's recorded, probably not. That would be dumb.
Well, no. Did you
I
say
don't
that?
recall saying that.
You don't.
But if,
Do you remember us saying that when we talked to you that we're going to record this interview?
yeah. During that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we say that, because sometimes people get out here and say, I didn't say that.
Right. And then you put it up on the big board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you said, I can go to the store, pick up a chick, get her phone number, and her that night. That's why I paraphrased it, because I was trying to be
Thank you.
kind.
No, I appreciate that.
But
So you got it right there, actually.
then you said, I am a cocky ass blank, and chicks like that. I was used to hooking up with women on the road across the country. I had sex with gross women just because I could and for no good reason. I thought I could stop having sex with other women once I got married. I just took advantage of Brandy because I'm a giant.
I remember saying that.
I told Brandy I was this chick and that I slept with her one time. Of course, I slept with her half a dozen times. Brandy would say the cheating was taking me away from the family. No one in our family is awake at 3 a.m. It didn't take me away from family time.
The G-Poor, she hung out with him after work. That was family time. I'm sorry.
The what? The G-Poor? Well, that's...
I don't want to use her name.
Oh, no, please don't. I don't...
G-Poor seems accurate. I love him, but you think he's going to be the one that cheats?
I think she's saying, James Bond, you're not.
No, and I never claimed to be James Bond.
Yeah. Just a semi-badass
Badass.
military ricochet bullet.
My daughters don't know that he lied about the military. One of them does now.
Well, I've got some comments about that. Coming up, Brandy's friend says she feels responsible for Brandy's pain because she says she had an uneasy feeling about Max from the beginning. We're going to talk to her after the break, and then I've got some questions for both of these guys as to how they're managing this at home. We'll be right back.
I don't like the way Max carried himself when he introduced himself to me. He was arrogant. I warned Brandy, don't date this guy. When Brandy told me that she was gonna marry Max just after a few months of dating, I told her she was crazy.
And later, what you don't do is drag him to the altar for slaughter in front of the daughters.
It is a family issue.
No, it isn't.
Brandy has gotten physical with me. She hit me in the arm in the car the other day. She slapped me in the ear, beat the crap out of the top of my head.
I was physically abusive towards Max on one occasion. He told me that he had had an affair during our marriage. As soon as those words came out of his mouth, I think I just kind of snapped. There was such a rush of rage that I just attacked him.
I'm a big boy, I can take a beating, so if it makes her feel better, I want her to do that.
I was glad that I hit him. I was hoping that I had hurt him.
From an anger point of view, I feel like I deserve being hit.
Okay, Brandy feels like she's been catfished because everything Max has said through the course of the relationship has turned out to be a lie. Everything is pretty all-inclusive, so that's an overstatement, but there's certainly been some pretty broad sweeping inconsistencies. Brandy's friend Amy warned Brandy that Max is bad news, but she said it was too late because she was a smitten kitten.
Max doesn't think before he speaks. I don't like the way he carried himself when he introduced himself to me. He was arrogant. He would put me down. Brandy is 6 years older than Max. Max is immature compared to Brandy. I warned Brandy, don't date this guy. When Brandy told me that she was gonna marry Max just after a few months of dating, I told her she was crazy because she barely knew him. Brandy asked me to officiate their wedding. I said yes. I do feel like I contributed to this mess we're in right now by officiating the wedding. 6 months into their marriage, Brandy informed me that she thought Max was cheating on her. It broke my heart that Max would throw away something so amazing. I want to believe Max when he says that he's not gonna continue to do what he's been doing, but it's very, very difficult. I think Brandy and Max need to take a break. Brandy needs to figure out what's real and what's not. My biggest fear is that Brandy takes Max back and they normalize the cheating and the lying, and it will continue for years.
Okay, thanks for being here. You thought he was arrogant and cocky, but did you think he was dishonest?
No, he came off as cocky, and I was like, I told her my thoughts of him and how he rubbed me the wrong way.
She waved a red flag to you.
Yeah.
In terms of red flags, you said Max moves in after 3 months. That's a speed thing. You said your friend was uneasy about it and told you so. You said that there was a marriage date before there was ever a proposal.
Right.
That you did know he was messaging women. No birthday gifts.
Dinner. I mean, no, nothing fancy, but a nice dinner.
If you knew then what you know now, would you have married him?
Not at all.
If you knew before you married her what you know now, would you have married her?
I shouldn't have, but we did.
If you wouldn't have gotten married, knowing that you were going to be where you are now.
This show is it. This is make or break. I mean, that's why I wrote in, is because I wanted to divorce because I couldn't handle this on my own. I'm going crazy. There's so much in my head. The show had to work out the timeline for me because I found out so many things on and off and back and forth. And
well, we do our homework.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Lies and I can't even be intimate with him without thinking about, oh, did you do this with that person, or, you know.
Yeah.
It's not. My head is swirling and I can't concentrate on anything. So if I wasn't looking forward to some sort of help, I would be divorcing and trying to figure myself out right now. But he does have good qualities that I'm really hoping aren't lies. I'm completely confused.
Why did he come here?
Because he said that he wants to do it for me. He absolutely doesn't want to be here. And I had to help him along the entire way, saying, do this.
Kind of like you helped him get married?
Yeah.
Max says he wants to be a better husband and father. Does he mean what he says? And should this couple stay together, or should they just say, look, first loss, best loss, we're both young, let's just admit we made a mistake and moonwalk out of this thing? I'm going to tell them both what I think when we come back. Closed captioning provided by...
My cousin Brandy has been my legal guardian for the past year and a half. I consider Brandy like my second mom, and I do call her BOM, which stands for Brandy Mom. About 2 years ago, Max came into the picture. He was very outgoing, he was great with the kids, he always made us feel like he cared about us. I looked up to Max as he was my father. I learned that Max had cheated on Brandy about 2 weeks ago. I was just really disappointed, because you would never think Max would ever do anything like that to our family. I definitely felt like everything was a lie. I wouldn't want anybody to really take Max's place, but if he can't stop cheating, he definitely should go. There's no reason for him to stay.
Well, that was Brandy's cousin, Serena, who Brandy is helping to raise. She seems to know a little bit too much about Max and Brandy's relationship, which is in turmoil right now over Max's lying and cheating. Now, your daughter is 14?
My daughter's 14, yes.
And your
My
cousin is 15.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading that just recently you shared with them pretty much where things were with regard to Max and what was going on.
Max
We did that.
We sat
together.
them down and he told them. They were able to see that we were having some kind of issues, and especially the older one was asking, you know, what's going on, what's happening, and he set them both down and told them that, I was there, told them that he had been cheating before the marriage and then
just before the show, Serena asked if he had cheated during the marriage.
What is it you expected him to do with that information?
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Well, you
with that
told him for a
information.
reason. What did you
Right.
expect him to do with it? You tell people things because you want them to operate on that, act on it, do something with it. What is it you want them to do with it?
I just wanted them to also know the truth.
Why?
I don't know if I can say why, just so that I wasn't lying to them. I don't exactly know what is the right position to take with teenage
Well, that's
girls.
not it.
Okay.
I have two rules that I really adhere to with children, and these are children you're talking
Yes.
about. One is you never involve them in adult issues. And two, you never burden them with things over which they have no control.
Okay. It is a family issue.
No, it isn't. No. It isn't. It's a marital issue between the two of you. And the impact it has on the family is handled at a different level.
I still don't understand what I should have done then. Just,
No, you don't. But what you don't do is go extrude all of this in front of these children and drag him to the altar for slaughter in front of the daughters about what a no-good bastard he is, and then they're left with that. That's not the appropriate thing to do. Nor would it be for him to do it with you. That's just not the thing to do.
I had no negative intentions, but I understand what you're saying.
Should they get a divorce at this point? Should they stay married? Is it possible that you've flipped a switch and that all of this lying and deception is over with? I'm going to give very clear answers about what I think to that right after the break. Closed captioning provided by Okay, Brandy says she's not sure if Max can ever be capable of being faithful or telling the truth. The answer is yes, he can. Absolutely, he can do that. Absolutely, you can do that.
I can.
This is not an evil man here. I think you have some issues about maturity and having a moral compass about being honest in this relationship, because I don't think you're fully bought into the relationship at this point. I think you felt like you got the bum's rush into the relationship, kind of got railroaded into it, and like you said, you got cheated on, and you've seen it happen in your own family, and you've said, I ain't ever going to be honest ever, faithful to a woman. You said it straight up, and I don't think you mean that. People lie for different reasons. They lie because they take what is not rightfully theirs. They say, this is mine. You give it to me when it's not. And they're trying to get something that's not theirs. They lie to escape accountability. I didn't do that. We did it as kids. We said, I didn't break the lamp. They lie to create a fantasy, a false self-esteem to escape their own mundane life.
Sounds pretty familiar.
They think I'm boring. I'm about as gray and boring as you can be, so I gotta embellish everything, because if I don't, I'm just dull. And so kind of the story gets bigger every time they tell it. They do it to avoid punishment or to inflict pain, like spread gossip about somebody or whatever. They do it to feel better in the moment, to steal admiration. Just in the moment, they'll say, yeah, I was a Marine, or I saved a kitten from the tree, whatever, just in the moment.
Did save the cat.
Yeah, okay. And they do it to gain advantage, to exploit others. They'll pretty much for self-gain or to escape some type of accountability. And you need to really start asking yourself why you do what you do. I think you jumped into this very impulsively. He's charming. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on. He is charming. He's a nice guy. He has an easy, charming way about him, and I can see how he's kind of a teddy bear, right? No, seriously, he can be a nice guy. And I understand how that can be very disarming. right? You use that, right?
Teddy bear.
You use that, right?
do.
You're a charming guy, and that's a good quality, and I hope you keep that quality. But now you're married. It's time to put your big boy pants on and say, I got a marriage, I got a family, I got to do this differently. And so here's my answer to you. You want to know, do I think you should call this off?
Right.
No, I don't. I'm going to tell you why. I think people in America get divorced too quickly.
Right.
I think they do it too easily. I think it gets to the point where they say, I'm not having fun anymore, I quit. And I think it's too easy to get married in America. You know, to get a driver's license, you have to at least take a test. You have to show you can drive the damn car.
In our state, we just had to be not second cousins.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the first thing you should do is go through some premarital counseling. Now that sounds crazy.
Why? Because we're already married?
Well, no, because you haven't done any of that yet. Premarital counseling, you sit down and you go through and figure out, okay, if we're going to be married, where do we stand on the elements that define a marriage? Where do we stand on expectations for the marriage? Where do we stand on such mundane things as division of labor, children, geography, in-laws, religion, money? You come up with a plan that both of you can be excited about. You have cheated. You've run this off in the ditch. You need to get it back up on the road. And that doesn't mean you work on it for a week or a month. You work on it until you have earned and restored that trust. And that takes some very specialized help for the two of you. And yes, I will arrange that for you. I will start you off this way. I'm going to put you with a hand-picked therapist from Doctor On Demand. And that's a company that my son and I have, so I know I can hand-pick this therapist. You have a computer, right? Mm-hmm. And you're on the road sometimes.
Yeah, local mostly now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah.
Is it?
Usually better.
Well, no, it is. The more time that you can be together, that's great. But with Doctor On Demand, most people think about it as medical Doctor On Demand, because it is. You download an app onto your computer or your smartphone, and you can punch that app, and you can be face-to-face with a board-certified physician in about 30 seconds. And they can prescribe medicine and do whatever. But we also have doctoral-level therapists on there. And you can sit right there in your home in front of your computer at an appointed time, and you can have a therapy session with them right there and walk you through this. That's where I want to start with the premarital counseling. Then they will decide what to do next, and that can begin today. I mean, right now, today. And we can do the same thing with your daughters if necessary. But you give me 45 days, and you're going to have clarity on this one way or another. And you get divorced, you can be divorced for a long time.
Yeah.
You got 45 days where you'll be at peace about this one way or the other. There will be no confusion about what you should do. And like I say, we can start that immediately. You're willing to do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's worth it.
It is.
You're worth it. I'll make it available to you individually, and as a couple.
Okay.
And we'll start it immediately. You owe that to yourself and to each other. And then you feel like, all right, we're doing something about this.
Right.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Coming up, we put some millennials to the test when we ask, how old is too old? That's next. Closed captioning provided by... Here's a question for you. What do you consider old? 40? 60? 100? Depending on your age, the answer probably varies. AARP asked some millennials what they think old is. Take a look at this.
What age do you consider to be old?
Late 40s?
Maybe 50?
I feel like 30 is a new 20, so I'd say like 40 is old.
I'd probably say 50s.
I'd like you to show me how an old person would cross the street.
Oh, you're killing me here. Now, check out what happened when these young people went in thinking one thing about aging and came out thinking something very different.
I'm Daphne, and I'm 68.
Hello, I'm Birch. I'm 66.
I'm Dee, and I'm 55.
George Fassbinder, 75.
Wow. Teach each other something that you are good at.
I can teach you a jump that I do.
Okay, please. 1, 2, 3. When you come out of a turn, either way.
Now, you bring your legs and your feet up. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
You want to try to get your balance and knees up.
Oh, man. I so love that. Joining me to discuss age bias is the CEO of AARP, Joanne Jenkins. So welcome.
Great. Pleasure.
Welcome.
Pleasure.
So do you think it's primarily young people that have a misconception about what's considered old?
Oh, absolutely not. I think ageism is ageless, and that you can be old at 35 or young at 70. It just depends on the mindset that you have.
Well, in the audience, I'd like you to meet 65-year-old Dottie.
Hi.
So what age biases have you encountered?
People seem to think that someone my age should sit at home and knit sweaters and bake cookies, but I really like an adrenaline rush.
How do you get that rush?
Well, skydiving, paragliding, flying. Probably my biggest adventure was that bungee jump in New Zealand where I jumped 440 feet tied by my ankles.
You jumped 440 feet with bungee cord tied to your ankle?
Yep.
I don't want to party with you. All right, so thanks. So, Joanne, your best-selling book is Disrupt Aging, and it was released last year.
Thank you.
Why is it important to challenge these outdated beliefs about aging?
Well, our research tells us that if a 10-year-old born today in the U.S. has a 50% chance of living to be 104.
Did y'all get that? A 10-year-old that's born now has a 50% chance of living to 104?
And so we're going to have to recreate a 100-year life and think about the implications of that on education, on work, on relationships, on savings for retirement, on your whole health, wealth, self spectrum. It's not just about tacking 15 or 20 years onto the end of your life.
Because I can tell you that your attitude about age when you're young affects your health when you're older. So you can't be a Johnny-come-lately to this.
In fact, we know that if you have a positive outlook on living longer, you're likely to live to be 7 years longer than if you had a negative attitude on aging. So Dottie is in good shape.
Yeah. I've read this book cover to cover, and I did some math, and I want you guys to think about this. If you're 40 years old, you've lived 14,600 days. If you are 104, you're going to live 37,960 days. Now think about this. If you're 40 and you're headed to 104, you got 64 years left in your life. I mean, you got to really have a different attitude about this. The world's got to have a different attitude about it.
You showed the video, but what if we moved middle age to 65? How would that change our outlook on life? Because it's exactly right that at 40, you could live another 60 years. And have you taken care of yourself physically and mentally in terms of the way you eat and exercise? And have you started planning financially to be in that post-retirement age for what could be 40 years?
And you say we've got to fight not just against aging, but against the ageist attitude.
Absolutely. We have to not only change our own self-perception of what aging is about, but we also have to change society's views, because we really have to have a whole cultural change around aging in this country.
We've got to have that attitude that there's something around the corner.
We've got to have a positive aspect and see aging as a natural part of life, not something to fear. And how do we change those attitudes about our own self-perceptions of aging?
The thing that you've got to ask is, are you an age disruptor like Dottie? I mean, that's what it's all about. And if you are, AARP wants to hear from you. And the way to do that is go to aarp.org/share your story. And you can really join in the conversation, because I think that if we start inspiring each other, then you hear stories like Dottie's here, and we start saying, wow, it's not over for me. I can do some different things. And take a look at this video, and it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube or on Facebook. It's What is Old?
And the book is Disrupt Aging. I tell you what, if you read this book, it's going to change your attitude. And I used to think 60 was old until I got to be 59. And then I thought, no, not so old. Listen, I want to thank all of my guests today. Joanne, will you come back?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Joanne Jenkins, AARP. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.